Welcome back to Midnight Movie Club in my trailer breakdown for our first official trailer of Ben Wheatley's In the Earth. So a quick little synopsis for the film if you're not familiar with it. It follows a scientist and a park scout who venture deep into the forest on a routine equipment run. For one of them to, research and look at the vegetation and look at ways for crops to grow and stuff like that. And the other is kind of like his guide. But as in this world there is a virus that has absolutely devastated the place, but it seems to have a tie with Mother Nature, and it seems like there's some supernatural stuff going on as well. So let's take a look at it. The trailer starts off with a very picturesque look at this forest, but if you look closer there's something menacing going on here. As we take a little bit of a closer look, you can actually see these puffs of smoke, these little smoke plumes coming out of the ground, and I believe that has something very important to do with this film and the virus that has devastated the world within this universe. As the trailer goes on, we see more of it and stuff like that, so we'll touch on it a little bit later as well. But yeah, it looks like it absolutely fills up this forest. We then hear this ominous voiceover that says, "Tell me his stories, these are his memories, do you feel him now?" Then we see who's talking, and it's this shady looking character. I believe his name is Zach or James, one of them two. I'm not too sure which character it is, but I'll tell you who I think he is later on in the trailer breakdown. And we see that he's talking to Joel Fry's character, who plays Martin, and he says, "No, I just don't have a clue, I don't have a Scooby what you're talking about." And I believe this is later on in the film when the main group, the main protagonists, have been captured by this character who we have also seen roaming about with an axe. I'll give you my verdict on him a little later, as I said. Moving on, we then see Joel Fry's character, the scientist who's looking into crops and stuff like that, show up at this park ranger station, I believe it is, where when he enters he's first being tested and stuff and looked over by who looks like the local nurse there. Probably just checking him out, making sure he's not infected or anything like that. All this kind of stuff. We see people wearing masks. It's all very relevant in today's world with what's been going on. This was a micro-budget horror shot during lockdown, so obviously they had to wear masks, so it's nice to see how they've incorporated it there and how that'll play off in the film. But as Joel Fry's character begins to get settled, we see this other character pop up in his room, who starts telling him about a previous group they've sent out. They actually had to send a rescue team out to go and find them. As he says, people tend to go a little bit crazy in these woods, setting up that foreboding atmosphere that something bad is going to happen if you go into these woods. And I do believe that shady character we saw earlier talking to Joel Fry's character is one of those, either part of the rescue team or the people who had to be rescued. He's probably out there running about with axe, tripping his balls, either possessed by something or tripping, or he's been infected with this deadly virus that's just turned him mental. I'm very interested to see if it's going to be more scientific or more supernatural, because right now it definitely looks like a blend of both. And yeah, I'm really keen to see what we get from this film. We then see, as it says, "Take a trip with Ben Wheatley," as the rain is actually falling upwards, which is really cool. It's kind of like, like the alien egg in Alien as the water drips upwards. It's just very otherworldly and weird to see. Ben Wheatley also done Kill List back in 2011. If you've not seen that, it's a really cool, I'd call it folk horror thriller. Pretty underrated, so if you want to see what Ben Wheatley's done and get a vibe for his work, definitely go check that out. Then as Martin looks at this strange picture in the ranger house, we see this sort of demonic folklore witchcraft creature over these two people who look like they are making a deal. We see a beheaded drummer on one side, flames like torches around them, some sort of demonic goat creature down the bottom with some skeletons. It's a really cool picture. You could stand and look at it all day, and we get a better shot of it in a minute. But just as he's taking a look at it, someone then says to him, this is, a local folklore legend. Apparently she's like a guardian of the woods, or an evil spirit within these woods. This is when we're then introduced to Elora Torchia's character, Alma. Sorry if I butchered her name there. But yeah, she's going to be the scout who takes him out into the woods and, you know, kind of guides him through. And we can actually see here behind on the coffee machine stuff, it says cups are no longer provided, bring your own cup, all that kind of stuff. And it's just really cool because, you know, we've been experiencing this kind of stuff in real life. I know in my own work staff room, we all had to bring our own cutlery and all that stuff because, you know, you couldn't be using the same and stuff like that. It's obviously same sort of rules for this world and the virus they're having to deal with. But just after she's explaining this folklore legend, she doesn't give us a name or anything like that. I don't know if it's based on a real life legend or it's one made up for the film yet. I'm not too sure. We get another look at this painting. We see even more, and the more you look at it, the more you see. We see people floating up into this, you know, black sort of pyramid, very void-like. If you've seen a void with, you know, that kind of Illuminati eye in there with it, and it's just a very interesting painting. And we see people hanging from trees, all these kind of gargoyle zombies. You know, it's really cool, and I'm really keen to learn the sort of mythology and folklore behind this legend. Anyway, after that, we see them set off into the woods as they walk down this paved road that's a little bit more built up into the fields and then onto a dirt track with this very dense forest in front of them, which looks like it's just going to get worse as it goes as they become trapped in it. And even as they're entering the forest and walking along here, we do still see that mist. I'm wondering if that mist is from those plumes of smoke that are coming from the ground. We then see one character wake up in the middle of the night with their torch as they're looking out, very Blair Witch-esque, as we see Martin's woken up as well. And it seems like there's a lot of handheld shots in there, kind of bringing across that Blair Witch vibe as well. Just before we see that rune, again, this is what we saw in the teaser trailer. This rune definitely seems like it's got something to do with everything, all these shady goings on that are happening. We then get some very quick flashes, little montage of stuff, as we see someone getting stitched up. Looks very gory and disgusting. Practical effects look nice. There's also a few more flashes where we see some cutting and slicing. I'm not going to show them, but because they were a bit more brutal and I don't want to be demonetized. After that, we see someone approaching these creepy stick figures that look straight out of like The Ritual or Blair Witch, something like that. I said on my community post the other day that I do think this film's going to be like a mix of The Ritual, Shrooms, and the Blair Witch. And just after that, we see some more of that, you know, kind of smoky stuff coming out of what looks like pure deformed potatoes or something like that. We do know Martin, that character's going to be, you know, studying crops and the best way to, like, I think create more crops and make them more sustainable and stuff like that. So obviously he's part of a group in this universe who want to keep everyone fed and going. Maybe this virus is doing something to plant life, or maybe it originates from plant life, kind of like Last of Us or something like that. And maybe it's a supernatural being who's actually caused this and are causing everything to rot and decay, and it's now spreading from the plant life to people. That'd be pretty cool to be explored, I think. We then see them standing around a camp. They've actually got a third character with them now. I'm not too sure who that is. But we do see smoke plumes again surrounding the camp and coming towards them before this new character says there's something in the woods, you know. It wants to talk. It doesn't say they want to talk, he or she wants to talk. She says it wants to talk. So yeah, that lends it to being some sort of supernatural being, this probably witch kind of character that we've seen in the paintings. Just after that though, we see a man, this dodgy character again that we've seen at the start of the trailer, with his axe emerging from this mist as light flashes behind him. And I do believe he will be part of that first group that the Rangers set out on a, you know, random routine supply run or something like that. Or he was part of the rescue team who went out to get them, and he's became lost, and, you know, his fate's probably going to be the fate of the group. After that, we get some trippy imagery that definitely looks like what characters will be seeing once they get infected with this smoke, probably. And in this imagery, we can actually see that ritualistic rune again. And to the left of it, I think you can actually see like some sort of demonic creature. It looks like it has a really creepy smile, a huge nose. You can kind of see the shoulders, and then like horns coming out of its head. I'm not sure if that's just me seeing that or if that's actually there, but I'll zoom on it a little bit and tell me what you think. It looks really creepy. Also, apologies if I don't sound too hyped up for this. I've got a really sore head, a really sore throat. I think I'm coming down with a virus myself, so I'm sorry if I don't sound too entertaining today. We then see Martin's character running again as we see more smoke coming out from the ground in front of him. He's probably just trying to run away from it, you know, Hunger Games 2 style, something like that. Just before we see another character looking at, you know, ritualistic books and stuff like that, this time getting a knife, you know, probably planning a sacrifice, you know, standard stuff. But once again, in this book, the common denominator, we see that rune again. What is going on with that rune? If anyone has any theories, please do let me know in the comments down below. After that, we see some more trippy imagery, some of the forest. I don't see any faces or anything in this one. It looks like blood being mixed with something. Just after, we see very, very creepy imagery. It almost looks like a human eye, but it's connected to all these furry strands. It just looks super creepy and super freaky. I'm not too sure what's going on, but someone is definitely tripping balls. They've been eating the shrooms or something like that. It does look kind of, reminds me of Mandy, the kind of animated stuff we got in Mandy, you know, those sequences. It definitely looks like we'll get some cool animated trippy sequences in here, as well as the characters are affected by whatever's going on. After that, we see Martin laying on the ground, you know, looking like something like your little cousins would play a prank on you while you're sleeping or something like that. Someone's putting petals over his eyes. Well, he looks like he has some sort of crown fashioned out of sticks attached to his head with some bandana, and he's wearing a sort of white ceremonial garb, almost very midsummer-like. Looks like he's been prepped to be sacrificed, to be perfectly honest with you. Then hear Alma say, you know, we just keep going round, we're never going to get out of here. And that's very Blair Witch-like, where the woods themselves are kind of an antagonist, not just the witch. Just after that, we then see them in this encampment, probably that team that we've talked about previously, as they're caught by the guy with the axe. He seems to be torturing them. Don't know what he's up to. Maybe he's doing the evil deeds of this, you know, witch that is in these woods causing all of this. Just after that, we see this tree that looks like almost like a rune itself. You know, more smoke around it as Martin is having creepy whispers, you know, sweet nothings whispered in his ears by this very creepy looking woman. We do get a flash of her later on, but I just couldn't get a screenshot of it. It goes so fast. But I wonder if she was part of that previous team as well, and now she's been affected by it. Then after all that, we see someone in a hazmat suit, something they probably should have done in the first place so they weren't affected by the smoky stuff themselves. As they venture into the smoke, they are eventually dragged off into it. I don't know by what, we don't see anything like that, but then we do get a flash that's really creepy. We see Martin, Alma, and then someone else on their right. Martin on the right, Alma on the left, and then that weird dude from the start in the middle. And it looks like they've all killed themselves in some sort of ritualistic suicide. I don't know, it's very creepy, very culty, and it freaks me out. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going on here. But right then at the end, we see more plumes of smoke in this, you know, open meadow as In the Earth is revealed. And I really like the lettering and how they put the A upside down and all that. It was very creepy, very cool. It was very midsummery, the way it was all edited and the little sounds here or there. But yeah, I'm keen to see what's going on. Is it supernatural? Is it scientific? You know, is it in their heads? Is it a virus? Is it a curse? Is it a spell? You know, are they just tripping? You know, there's a lot going on here, a lot to unpack, lots to theorize. So if you've got any thoughts, please do let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, sorry I was so sick sounding through it, but if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. If you're new here, then subscribe. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and good night.